Hi, my name is Melissa. Today my colleagues, Maria, Starzie, Brierley, Duncan, Josh and I will be discussing motivation. Why is it important? And motivational theories to assist Sterling Cooper with their new highly demanding contract.
Sterling Cooper Fundraising Consultants provides telemarketing services to assist not-for-profit organisations to achieve their fundraising goals. In particular, the call department is responsible for making phone calls to potential supporters to secure donations. Over the last 5 years, management has identified that there has been a steady decline in job satisfaction and job motivation within the call departmental employees. As a result, the organisation's donation KPI targets are not being achieved as there has been a decline in fundraising contributions.
And that's the reason why we're here. Sterling Cooper Fundraising Consultants have engaged our team of human resource experts to identify and analyse some of the key areas within their workplace that may influence motivation. We'll be discussing the concept of motivation and why it is important for Sterling Cooper, particularly as they approach the beginning of some new work with a high-profile client. Secondly, we'll explore both equity theory and the job characteristics model, and use these to give explanations as to why employee motivation and morale is low. Finally, leaning on these two models of equity theory and the job characteristics model, we'll provide recommendations to Sterling Cooper that will help increase employee motivation and morale, which in turn will produce fruitful outcomes for when they begin work with this new client.
My name is Melissa and I'll be discussing motivation and motivational factors. Motivation is important to understand within the workplace because it is the internal processes of employees which affect the direction and efforts of activities they take within the work context. An employee's performance is determined by their motivation. Highly motivated employees are believed to deliver a higher quality of service with increased efforts promoting organizational effectiveness. Motivation can be broken down into two categories: intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is a sense of achievement and meaningfulness an employee experiences within their workplace. It is connected to interesting, challenging, and exciting activities where the individual can use their own personal skills and knowledge, resulting in a higher level of job satisfaction. Factors such as fulfilling nature of work, skill development, and company perception and relatedness can enhance or reduce the amount of intrinsic motivation an employee experiences. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation is linked to the need for recognition. Factors that can enhance or reduce extrinsic motivation include financial incentives, work-life balance, and feedback from supervisors and colleagues. Self-determination theory is a motivational theory that is derived from intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and it expands on these two motivations in more depth within the workplace. The main idea of self-determination theory is that intrinsic motivation leads to people to act more virtuously, to satisfy their interests or desires, to increase their skills. All other actions are prompted by extrinsic motivation, which is derived from social values. Extrinsically motivated actions can become self-determined as values become integrated and internalized. Intrinsic motivation is promoted by feelings of competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Self-determination theory classes unique importance on autonomy, choices, and human relationships. Autonomy refers to the opportunity to control one's actions. Competence refers to the perceived ability to master and achieve, and relatedness refers to a sense of affiliation with or belonging to others to who they would like to feel connected to.
Thank you, Melissa. My name is Starzie and I'll be discussing motivation. However, I'll be addressing the goal-setting theory. According to the goal-setting theory, there appears to be two factors of behavior: values and intentions. A goal is defined simply as what the individual is intentionally trying to do. Goal-setting theory claims that an employee's experience and judgments is emotional. Their values create a desire to accomplish a task. Goals also affect job performance, particularly multiple mechanisms, including direct attention and action. Importantly, challenging goals mobilizes energy and leads to high effort. Goals motivate employees to develop strategies that enable them to perform at the required levels. Accomplishing the goal can also then lead to job satisfaction and further motivation. Implications for practice under the right conditions. Goal setting can be a powerful technique for motivating employees. The following are practical suggestions for managers to consider when attempting to use the goal setting theory to enhance motivation and performance. Goals need to be specific. Employees perform at higher levels when asked to meet a detailed, high-performance goal. Asking employees to improve, to work harder, or to do your best is simply not helpful because it does not give them a focused target. Goals must be difficult but attainable. A goal that is too easily attained will not bring about the desired increments in performance. The key is here that a goal must be difficult as well to raise performance. Goals must be accepted. Simply assigning goals to employees may not result in their commitment, especially if the goal is too difficult to accomplish. So, a powerful method of obtaining acceptance is allowing employees to participate in the goal-setting process. Feedback must be provided on goal attainment. Feedback helps employees attain their performance goals. It helps employees determine how well they are doing, and performance feedback also tends to encourage better performance. Goals are more effective when they are used to evaluate performance. Make sure you evaluate their performance in terms of how well they have attained their goals, and also maybe their progression updates and check-ins. Deadline improves the effectiveness of goals. For most employees, goals are more effective when they include a deadline for completion. Deadlines serve as a time control mechanism and increase the motivational impact of goals. Being aware that a deadline is approaching, the typical employee will invest more time into completing the task. A learning goal orientation leads to higher performance than a performance goal. A person with a learning goal orientation wants to develop and master these challenging situations. In contrast, a person with a performance goal orientation wants to demonstrate and validate that they can complete the goal by seeking favorable judgments. Therefore, the learning goal is particularly relevant in today's work environment, which requires employees to be proactive, problem solve, get creative, be open to new ideas, and adapt to new and changing solutions. Finally, group goal setting is as important as individual goal setting. Today, many employees work in groups, teams, or committees. Having employees to work in teams with a specific team goal rather than an individual goal is only more beneficial and increases productivity.
Thank you, Starzie. My name is Maria, and I'm going to explain the equity theory and why employees are facing a lack of motivation according to the equity theory. The theory of justice over equality was developed by Adams in 1963. According to this theory, the employees compares what he contributes to the business, like time, qualifications, results, with what he receives, such as pay, working conditions, job security, career prospects. From this comparison, the person may feel a sense of justice when what he offers is commensurate with what he receives, or a sense of injustice when he feels that he offers more than he receives. Stanley Cooper found raising consultants are facing a lack of employee motivation and morale as employees have negative emotions for several factors. First of all, in order to reduce costs, there is no optional cross-training within the organization, which is resulting in demotivation for people who want to move around. Employees feel that even though they contribute to the organization, their efforts are not recognized and they do not have the opportunity for ongoing development, growing their skills and knowledge. There is only one team leader per 50 employees, which means that there is not a lot of space to step up and get promotions. Employees receive a mandatory 2-hour unpaid training session when they're performing less, however, their previous performance is not considered. According to that, they compare their working environment with other working environments and create negative feelings, as they might feel that they receive less than other people in the same industry. Lastly, the metrics that are compiled for each employee are provided to the team leader and not to the individual employee, which can decrease trust. Employees' trust in their employer and the rest of the company's workforce is the foundation of building strong teams, creating a healthy and enjoyable work environment, and increasing productivity. In a work environment, it is important to build relationships of trust between employees, but also between them and management. as it will result people to support and respect each other, share information, communicate honestly, exchange feedback regularly, be satisfied with their work, and maintain motivation. Daniel Scalicchi and Robert Folger had already observed in the classic work in 1997 that injustice in the workplace leads to retaliation, such as bad reputation for the organization. Trust reduces insecurity and maintains mutuality, so it is very important to be within the organization.
Thank you, Maria. My name's Josh, and I will be proposing 3 specific solutions drawing on equity theory to assist Sterling Cooper with the development of staff motivation and job performance. The first solution is to give the employees the opportunity to cross-train and change departments. Salem M. Abdian demonstrated that implementation of effective cross-training can result in better job performance, increased employee retention, and service quality. The second solution is to remove the mandatory training for the lowest 10% performing staff. I mean, how would you feel if you were forced to attend training if you performed very poorly one month? It would feel more like punishment, wouldn't it? Therefore, it is vital for Sterling Cooper to remove this inequity reference to begin repairing the motivational concerns. The final solution recommended is the introduction of a cafeteria reward system. A cafeteria reward system is a reward system that offers a variety of rewards to cater for different personalities and values. Examples could be a pay rise, a bonus, recognitions awards, allocation of task responsibilities, etc. Coleman proposed that contrasting age groups value particular rewards in the workplace. They found that younger generations valued monetary-based rewards, whereas the older generations valued job inclusion rewards such as recognition and task responsibilities. So to summarize my recommendations drawing on equity theory, Sterling Cooper need to give the employees freedom of choice and remove the inequity reference. This will boost employee motivation, enhance job performance, and will give Sterling Cooper the capacity to meet the demands of the expanding workload.
Thanks for that, Josh. While the equity theory explains the relationship between inputs and outputs, the job characteristics model, also known as JCM, focuses on the impact that job organisation and 5 specific job dimensions have on motivation. The 5 dimensions include skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback. When a role presents a high score for most of the 5 dimensions, it will activate 3 critical psychological states that influence motivation. Those states are where the individual feels as though their role is meaningful, they feel they're responsible for the outcomes of their work, and that they feel as though their knowledge is growing. Research provides that where these states are stimulated, satisfaction and performance increases, and absenteeism and turnover rates are minimised. Upon review of Sterling Cooper Fundraising Consultants' Call Department, we have identified a few areas of the job organisations which may be contributing to a decline of motivation and morale within staff. For example, staff in this department experience controlled work environments and tasks. In particular, staff are aligned to strict rosters where start, finish, and break times are specified. Staff are also closely monitored through quality control measures to ensure they have a strict adherence to a standardised script while making phone calls. While the objective of these protocols may have been for quality assurance and operational reasons, it does not allow the employee to experience freedom in the role, as there is a limited requirement for the use of initiative and judgment when completing tasks, or input to the flexibility in the work environment. Therefore, due to the lack of autonomy and skill variety, the role has become repetitive and non-complex tasks, minimising the meaningfulness and responsibility one feels towards the role. In addition, staff may feel as though there's a lack of learning and development in their role. The current model of business does not provide the employees the opportunity to move around to different departments to experience new skills and knowledge. In addition, the current feedback process is limited as staff are not afforded the chance to meet with their supervisor in a confidential and safe manner to discuss individualised performance. As such, staff may feel unsure about their performance and how to improve, which lowers the score of feedback. As a result, staff will lose the enthusiasm to grow their knowledge, resulting in poor performance and low satisfaction in the role.
Thanks, Brierley. My name is Duncan and I'll talk about how to gain motivation from 4 of the 5 aspects of the job characteristics model. For task identity, Sterling Cooper would benefit from removing its current strict micro goals and setting big picture realistic weekly earnings goal. Providing employees met this goal, it will give them a sense of performing the task from start to finish. Cray states that feedback in a service organisation like Sterling Cooper is found to be very effective. Aside from formal feedback, this could be something as simple as an employee earnings board which is displayed publicly, which could also foster motivation in the more competitive types. Task significance ties in with what Brierley discussed earlier, being meaningfulness of the work driving motivation. Research has shown that Sterling Cooper would benefit by introducing their call centre employees to the potential beneficiaries of the scholarship. Allen, Duffy and Collison coincidentally conducted a study on this with call centre employees, and they found that an increase in the frequency, physical proximity, duration, depth and breadth of contact with beneficiaries in the work environment significantly increased employee motivation. The study found that the call centre employees who interacted directly with beneficiaries earned 3 times more as those who didn't. As this study is almost identical to the one put forward for our review about Sterling Cooper, it would make sense that the call centre employees be given exposure to the potential beneficiaries. A more autonomous approach to Sterling Cooper's scheduling could include a flexible working arrangement. They could have a core day, such as a mandatory 6 hours between, let's say, 10 a.m. and 4 p.m, and allow the employees to work the remaining 2 hours in a given time frame, such as between the hours of 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. They could even go one step further and allow employees to work from home 1 day a week. Menzies and Kelleher explain that these flexible arrangements are inexpensive for employers, popular with employees, and as a result, they may foster positive employee outcomes that enhance performance. These arrangements stimulate behaviours such as loyalty, attendance, punctuality, and organisational commitment. Finally, as Spiegler, Guys and Hootgem stated, employee autonomy, which leads to motivation, can also be gained from determining the procedures used in carrying out the job. Sterling Cooper currently has a rigid script which seems to have no allowance for deviation from the employee. Sterling Cooper would benefit in providing the employee with a training package in sales calls and then allowing them to run their own script, thus satisfying the definition and fostering motivation. These recommendations could be implemented in isolation or as a combination.
In conclusion, we established that motivation comes in different forms and is highly influential. With this brings opportunity to Sterling Cooper fundraising, because if they can influence motivation within their organisation, it greatly increases their chances of achieving organisational objectives. In order to manage employee motivation, Sterling Cooper must understand the importance of goal setting to inspire their staff, which will boost their motivational levels. Additionally, they must understand that equity theory will be frequently drawn upon by their staff, and minimising inequity references and enabling positive reward systems will contribute to raising their motivational levels. Furthermore, extracting fundamental components of the job characteristics model will give employees recognition and the feeling of being valued and empowered. Correct implementation of our recommendations and adopting the relevant information will give Sterling Cooper the upper hand in staff effectiveness and will produce favourable outcomes for both the employees and the organisation. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope we have supplied some insights into the importance of motivation. Cheers.